Hey, this is Dusty Showers with the Second Basement, and I'm here in Seattle at the Young Survivors Conference with Alexandra Cortez. Is that good?
That's
Cortez.
good.
All right. So say hello.
Hi.
She's the cutest thing, and I really wanted to share her story with everybody. There's a ton of amazing women here, but her story really caught our attention, and I just want you to share it, please.
Okay, I was diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer 10 years ago at the age of 28. I had, at the time, a baby that was 1 year old. She's obviously now 11. And had my mastectomy, chemotherapy, radiation. 5 years later, I was diagnosed again with a recurrence on my chest wall. And at the time, my boy was born already. He was 18 months old. So went through treatment again, surgery, chemotherapy, radiation. Then in 2011, I tried to do a reconstruction, but because I had so much radiation, the tissue didn't work. And
you showed us the picture of that last night, right?
Yes.
And you don't have to do that now, but these aren't just words that people say. These are I mean, when she says this, it had to have been painful.
yes, very scary too. My skin ripped open and there started this like really small hole that started growing and growing deep until my actual rib bone started showing.
So when you get breast cancer, you don't just have it cut off, do some chemo, and put everything back together, and everything's fine. And even if you do that, there's things that can go incredibly wrong.
Yes, he was just trying to get part of me back to normal. I got divorced, so I was kind of trying to focus in on something more
As
positive.
you were going through all this, you got divorced.
No, I got divorced, so then I said, well, I need to focus my mind on something else, something more positive, so maybe I should do reconstruction. I'm single again, maybe I should do reconstruction. Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
I want to be busy, so let's have surgery.
Right, awesome, I love it.
And all this happened. So, I wanted one surgery, and I had 6 surgeries.
Okay, and you said when all that started, your rib bone was showing from the infection?
The whole, because the whole, yeah, because it didn't take, so the skin ripped and start growing.
So
because
then you picked up the new hobby of reconstruction.
Yes.
Yeah, I hear it's growing across the country like wildfire.
So I had some treatment, hyperbaric oxygen, which is supposed to heal open wounds. And then, but since the bone was showing, they thought maybe, there was an infection just because it's exposed. So they wanted to make sure everything was okay. I had a PET scan. I had some pain in my back. So they wanted to make sure it was from the infection instead of being from bone cancer metastasis. So they did a PET scan. And they said, no, your bones are fine, perfect, but you have a tumor on your lung. I was very lucky to find it at the time.
So you're lucky to find out that you have more cancer.
I found it so early.
But yeah, when I'm trying to point out your attitude, it's, hey, I got more cancer, but we found it. And that's the positive spin on it.
Yeah, if I didn't go through that whole thing with the skin and the bone and the infection, I wouldn't found that tumor on time. So it's in the lung. Once you show symptoms of the cancer in the lung, it's not good. So I didn't even have any symptoms. It was still very small. But it was very deep on the lung. So the surgeon decided to take the whole lobe of the lung. Since it was my left lung, that one only has 2 lobes, so they removed the whole upper lobe. It's a big surgery, especially after having 5 surgeries before that. So that was my new hobby.
Yeah,
taking out my lung and just learning how to walk and breathe at the same time again, and learn how to go upstairs without any fatigue, stuff like that. So, and then I had more chemo, and now I'm not evidence of disease.
Yes, no evidence of disease. Sometimes you see on my Facebook women talk about Ned and even refer to Ned as a person, but that refers to no evidence of disease, which some people call it cured, which is I don't really think is the right term, but that's where NED comes from.
It's not considerable curable, especially after it's been metastasized, which is one of the things I learned here too. Unfortunately, it's like when the doctors, after a metastasis on your neck, the doctors are like, okay, when is it going to show up? You know?
That means your cancer's going to become a way of life if it's metastasized. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I have no evidence, but they're still doing a lot of scans on me every 6 months, or 6 months. But doctors are probably like waiting and just to make sure when it happens, it's going to happen early enough to treat it again.
Yeah.
But it's not. They don't think it's not going to happen again, which is very discouraging.
I won't get into this because I promised her that I wouldn't try to make her cry, but I did promise her that if she cried, I would cry too, because she didn't want to cry again, which almost made me cry. But we just came from a workshop where it was single women dealing with breast cancer and dating it, and the issues that come with that, and that's obviously an issue with somebody in your position, and so that, when you think about breast cancer, and if you've never dealt with it before, again, it's not just you go through the treatment. It becomes a life thing of how do you move on in your life when you've had all of this happen to you and all of these things that could potentially happen to you. And I have no doubt that you can handle that, and you will handle that, and you'll find whatever it is in you that there'll be a guy that deserves you, and when you're ready, that's going to happen. So I'll leave it at that. But I've had the time of my life hanging out with you this weekend, and I've, of course, seen you here before. And so, do you have anything else to add?
Well,
I really just like hearing her speak. Colombia.
Well, just thank you for everything that you do for women like me.
It's truly my pleasure. So,
And I hope my story can inspire others.
I know it will.
Help somebody.
And it's an awesome story. So thank you for Alexandra and Dusty in the second basement, where we always fight breast cancer in unusual ways. Catch you later.